ClaimLinx podcast with our host, Tom Quigley of ClaimLinx. Tom, how are you? I know you're excited about our guest because he is very important to you.
That he is, Neil, and I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Who's our guest?
This is Anthony McMahon. He's out of Philadelphia area, and he's a consultant who works with ClaimLinx.
All right, Anthony, thanks for stopping by. So how did that get started for you with ClaimLinx?
Yeah, I was doing some marketing, some social media marketing, specifically on LinkedIn for Tom for a few years. Figured out how to get him connected with business owners, get the solution in front of the right people. I know we brought on a good amount of business from that. I learned a lot by putting together those campaigns about how ClaimLinx works and saw the uniqueness of it and how it really did drive results and how atypical it was based on everything else going on in the industry. And eventually I was like, I think this is a sick solution in the best way possible. This is like really affecting people in a positive way. I've always been pretty good, I think, at communicating with people and sharing good ideas and helping persuade them and making good decisions. And eventually I just asked Tom, can I do this full time with you?
Wow. There you go. And you saw how simple and easy it is once you tell people what the ClaimLinx solution is. So, Anthony, how do you explain it to people?
Yeah, people try to convolute it and make it complicated, but at the end of the day, it's very simple. You're just leveraging the large insurance carriers for their stop loss and for the network that they provide of hospitals and doctors. You're going to cut your half, or you're going to cut your premium typically in half, if not more. And then underneath of that, you're going to simply use the tax code, specifically Section 105 with a medical expense reimbursement plan to give either better benefits, the same benefits that the employees are already accustomed to having, and then you're going to just self-finance the difference. And when you do that, in my experience of doing this almost 3 years, groups are typically saving 30, 35, 40, sometimes 50, 60% net with everything included from what they were doing previously. And it's not only affecting the business, but it's affecting the employees. They're getting more take-home pay, they're getting better benefits. It's just like a win across the board.
All right. Tom, when you saw how Anthony explains things, do you like that?
Yeah, it keeps it simple. It's not hard. We call it the simple option solution. The problem is everyone thinks it's got to be a complex fix for everything. And sometimes things, it's very basic.
Right. And that basic, how do you see that basic, Tom? You always explain it very simply, right?
Yeah, 2 + 2 = 4. No one's going to argue with me over that. But 1 + 1 also equals 4. 3 + 1 = 4. You can get there many ways, right? But the problem is people are only being shown one way, and that is the only way the group health insurance agents can be compensated. Every solution is traditional group health. Doesn't make sense.
Now, Anthony, when you think about who are the ideal candidates for this, like what kind of companies or what kind of size company?
I think that there's probably two main factors that I've seen with successful implementation is when you have a strong leader that can just say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the right decision for the business. This is the right decision for the employees, as opposed to having a decision by committee type of vibe. I think that is the main factor that I see. A lot of the time, people have various personal agendas, have relationships with the brokers, they have just complacency, doing things their own way. So I think having a strong leadership and strong ownership of really understanding how this is going to benefit and then implementing it is what I've seen as like the number one factor from like a personnel perspective. And then from a size perspective, it really works for anybody. We have clients that have hundreds of employees. We have clients that have 3 employees, but I would say the sweet spot, the ones that are getting affected the most adversely cost wise are groups that have anywhere between 5 to 50 employees. Those are the ones that are really getting hammered by the insurance carriers and getting really bad rates and don't really have alternative options to turn to. And the brokers also don't really care about them because they're not making that much money on them.
So when you think about the decision maker, who is that decision maker, Anthony? Especially with people that, work for the company and they're like, I really need better health benefits as well. And I would be interested in I'm paying a ton as the employee to go back to the employer. Who's that decision maker you're seeing mostly, Anthony, you get them to turn to get that business?
It has to be the owner.
Why is that? Other ones don't see that bottom line as much as the owner?
It's not their money. It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that goes with marketing, Anthony, because you were in that industry as well. Is the fact is you go and tell them, hey, you go to the marketing director, and they're not going to want you to come in. There's no way in the heck. You
Yeah.
got to prove it to the owner. This is what the value add is of me coming in for you. This one's the easiest sell because you're going to save them money. And that bottom line, especially in the challenging times that we live in right now, that's very, again, it looks good and looks bad, looks good again in 2025, strangest year in the world. But really to say, hey, I could save you money and it's going to and still make your employees happy. They're not going to say, oh my gosh, this jerk just cut our benefits. That doesn't happen at all, Anthony. That's the other thing. People say, oh, there has to be a catch. Anthony, how do you answer that? There has to be a catch.
Honestly, I just try to peel back the curtain. If people knew how it really worked behind the scenes, brokers, agents, people that set up these traditional plans that Tom alluded to, they get paid based on how much the group pays. In my opinion, that's perverse. The more that a group pays, the more that employees have to pay in premium, the more that the broker or agent gets compensated from the insurance carrier. I think that's perverse. I think that's wrong. And I think that once people understand that and understand that they're being shown one option that looks good on paper, but is super expensive, they understand the incentives behind that. And that's why with our plan, we get paid based on savings. We get paid fees directly from the business owner and the business based on performance. And when we do that, we're not tied to sell a product. We are able to craft a solution that's tailored for that group and that employee base specifically. So it's just really educating them about how it works behind the scenes. And then I think that the picture starts to become more clear.
And then also battling the broker once they tell the broker that they talk to you, Anthony.
Yeah, brokers really typically don't like us. We do have a few that get it and they want to do right by their clients and they're open to alternative solutions. But for the most part, they do not like it because it makes them uncompetitive and it shines a certain light on what they've been doing for X number of years. And, they can start to quantify how much money they squandered away and how much the employees have paid extra and how much potential medical debt the employees have incurred just in making these bad decisions, but it's not even the owner or the employee's fault. It's just what they were shown. Tom said they're only shown one thing. So if you're only shown one thing, every year, it's just what you don't mind.
All right, good, Tom.
Good
What do you
stuff.
good stuff? How would you why do you like Anthony so much?
Anthony tells them how it is. This is how it is. That's what you want in anybody. The problem is it's not that unbelievable. Look what's happening in this country. Elon and the boys and girls go out and they come up and they show you all this fraud and going on, and no one's shocked by it. No one's really shocked when we show them how much they can save on health insurance. What they're shocked by is, or mad about, is why wasn't I involved in this? And if you think it through, the owners have a fiduciary responsibility if they're asking the employees to pay money to do what's in the best interest, not only for them, but for their employees who are contributing to the health insurance. If it was a 401k, I hate to say this, if they policed it like they did those, there'd be a lot of people who could be potentially in jail. Not if they're in California, though. But it's just the way it is.
Now, Anthony, what is your favorite thing about working for ClaimLinx?
I personally, as somebody that's in sales, I like to be able to sell something that I know actually benefits people. I feel a lot of people are in sales to make money. Obviously, I want to make money. Who doesn't? I want to grow a family, be successful. But I think that it's a lot easier and you can be a lot more genuine and straight up with people, like Tom mentioned, because you're telling the truth. And when you set them up in this way, everyone is benefited. The employees are benefited, the business is benefited, and I'm benefited by saving the money. That's tied directly to the comp model. And I just feel really good about it. Yeah, compared to our competitors, agents and brokers, I just think that ours is above and beyond better in terms of both outcomes and also just how it's set up and being in the best interest of the actual business and the employees. Because you think about it, like brokers and agents get paid by insurance carriers. That is their primary and only source of income. So who do they work for, the business or the insurance carrier?
And you feel you work for the business in a way, Anthony.
I do work for the businesses.
Yeah, because you want to see their success and for them to save money.
That's how we get paid by
Right.
them. These guys are going out saying bad news, you got a 30% increase Good news for me. I got a raise.
Not a good thing. Not at all. And I think that's the key thing. So Anthony, if you people that are watching and they're a business owner, why should they choose ClaimLinx?
There's a multitude of reasons. You can start on the profitability end of your business if you're bleeding out from this. A lot of owners, it's sad, they want to be the good guy and take on that burden for their employees. So a lot of them just eat the cost and don't pass it on to the employees when logically and financially they should, but they don't want to affect their employees like that. The ones that do have to pass on the cost of the employees, it hurts them, it hurts their take-home pay. It hurts the level of benefits that the employer can offer them. And then if they have a higher deductible and something happens, they have more medical debt, which is a nightmare. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy in the US. Businesses end, it's going to make you a lot more profitable. It's going to give you the flexibility and ability to actually give your employees great benefits and make it affordable for them to participate. And I think it's a good thing to do for your people, is to be a fiduciary, like Tom said, and procure health insurance in the most cost effective, beneficial way, because it's super expensive for everybody involved. Everyone knows how much and how ridiculous the cost of healthcare is in the US. So if you're going to get it for your employees, you should do the due diligence of doing it right, both for yourself selfishly and personally, but also for your group as a whole. So yeah, it just matters a lot. It doesn't just matter for the business, it matters for the employees, it matters for their family, and it bleeds down.
It's a no-brainer, Anthony. So they should contact you today, right? If they're watching this and a business owner said, "Oh, I'm going to contact Anthony at ClaimLinx," right? Is there a direct place you can email you?
Yeah, if you go on claimlinx.com, we have a tab up there where you can schedule a meeting with myself, Tom, Tina, the rest of our team, and we can figure out what's the best situation for that given business and their employees and help set them up right. If they want to have a more fun, engaging conversation, they should probably talk to Tom, but I'm the more boring, straightforward guy. So it really depends what their vibe is. But either way, we can help them.
All right. Appreciate it. Contact Tom today by going to claimlinx.com. Appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
That was a special Sam McCouse, the Neil Haley Show, and the Cutting Edge Benefits Podcast, guys. Take care.